Have you ever wished to change your life in just 7 days? Imagine the possibility of transforming everything, your thoughts, your habits, your destiny, in a single week. Well, centuries ago, a wandering young man did exactly that under the guidance of none other than the great Gautama Buddha. His journey of transformation began with a simple yet powerful challenge, and today, I'm going to share his story with you. Stick with me until the end, and this might just change your life forever. In a small, unremarkable village, there lived a young man who had long since fallen into despair. His life seemed like a series of mistakes, missed opportunities, and unfulfilled dreams. Every day felt the same, his heart heavy with regret, his soul weary with failure. He was caught in a cycle of procrastination and self-doubt, unable to break free from the weight of his own weaknesses. One day, with his family away for the next 7 days, the young man decided that he couldn't live like this any longer. There was only one person who could help him, a teacher whose wisdom was said to change lives. Gautama Buddha. Desperate for change, the young man journeyed to meet him. When he found the Buddha sitting under a tree, he dropped to his knees, begging, "Great Buddha, I've lost my way. If I can change myself, my life will follow. Please, show me the path." Buddha, sensing the sincerity in his voice despite the skepticism that others often felt, smiled gently. "I will give you a task, but it will not be easy. Bring me 7 blank sheets of paper by evening. Do this, and you will understand what needs to change." The next morning, as the sun began to rise, the young man opened the first letter Buddha had given him. It simply read, "Visit the tavern at dawn and observe deeply." At first, he hesitated. Why a tavern? What could he learn from such a place? But curiosity got the better of him, and he made his way there. What he saw shook him to his core. Drunkards were lying in the gutters, their lives wasted. The wives and children of these men stood by, helpless and heartbroken, unable to change their circumstances. The sight was unbearable. The young man returned home in silence. Upon reading the back of the letter, his heart sank further. Understand the price of not changing. Imagine your life 10 years from now if bad habits persist. In that moment, the young man saw the mirror of his own life. His laziness, his fears, and his inability to take control had already begun to shape his future. The vision of his life in a decade was one he could not bear. He knew he had to change. "I must break free." The second letter arrived the next morning, and it was a harsh yet liberating instruction. Visit the cremation ground and reflect on the impermanence of life. Reluctantly, the young man set out for the cemetery. The scent of incense lingered in the air, and the mournful cries of those who had lost loved ones filled the space. Standing there, he realized the truth. His weaknesses and failures were not permanent. Everything in life, joys, sorrows, mistakes, was temporary. As he stood there, the back of the letter beckoned. Stop carrying the mental burden of past mistakes. Act with confidence. Believe in yourself. In that moment, he made a powerful decision. He would no longer be shackled by his past. He would let go of the failures that had haunted him for so long. The third letter led him to a horse race. From his seat in the stands, he watched the riders whip their horses into a frenzy, trying to win. But there was one rider who stood out. He wasn't just reacting to the race. He was focused, his eyes locked on the finish line. Buddha's message was clear. Fixate on your goal and live as if you've already achieved it. Stop doubting your potential. The young man felt a deep resonance with these words. How often had he wavered in his pursuits, distracted by fear or insecurity? He resolved to focus, to visualize his goals clearly, and to act as though his success was already inevitable. The fourth letter sent him to the busiest market intersection in the village. Cross this intersection repeatedly until you are no longer overwhelmed by its chaos. At first, the noise and commotion left him feeling frantic. People bumped into him, carts rolled by, and the air buzzed with conversation. But with each pass, the young man grew calmer. He focused on his breath, on his steps, and soon, the chaos around him faded into the background. The back of the letter read, "Observe your thoughts without engaging. Mindfulness leads to inner peace and control over your mind." For the first time, he understood the power of mindfulness. No matter how chaotic life became, he could stay centered, grounded in the present moment. The fifth letter led the young man to a potter's workshop. The potter was at work, shaping clay, breaking it down, and reshaping it with patience and skill. "You see," the potter said, "I don't make pots for the end result. I make them to master the process. The young man watched in awe as the potter destroyed and recreated his work without frustration. He learned that the true art was in constant improvement, not in perfection. The back of the letter read, "Don't work for results. Work to improve your craft. True success comes through constant growth." Inspired by these words, the young man understood that success was not about instant achievement. It was about the daily commitment to becoming better. The sixth letter led the young man to a bamboo grove. He observed that the tallest bamboos swayed with the wind, bending without breaking. He knelt down, touched the bamboo, and realized the lesson. True strength lies in flexibility, in the ability to bend and adapt without breaking. The back of the letter read, "Strength lies in flexibility. Accept challenges and adapt. Only then will you find inner beauty and power." The young man smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. He no longer needed to fight against life's challenges. Instead, he would embrace them, knowing they were shaping him into a stronger version of himself. On the seventh and final day, the young man opened the final letter. It had no task, only a simple message. Success and peace aren't destinations. They're habits cultivated daily. Practice each lesson until they become second nature. As he reflected on the past week, he realized that the lessons Buddha had given him were not just instructions. They were a roadmap for living a life of purpose, focus, and inner peace. He vowed to integrate these teachings into his daily life, to make them part of his being, confronting his weaknesses, letting go of his past, focusing on his goals, practicing mindfulness, mastering his craft, embracing challenges, and committing to daily effort. These would be his guideposts forever. And so, the young man's life was forever changed. But this story isn't just about him. It's a lesson for all of us. The 7 letters are a blueprint for transformation, a guide to unlocking your true potential. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Share in the comments. What's your biggest takeaway from this story? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more stories that inspire and transform.